All right, I will call the regular council meeting of October 12th, 2021 to order. This will be our last meeting as a council. So I would like to thank all of council for all of their hard work over the last 4 years and administration for enduring council over the last 4 years. We have a participant in our open mic. Lorianne, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Go ahead.
So I would want to congratulate you on, it sounds like this is a significant meeting. I wish you all the best in your endeavors in the future. That's awesome. I feel proud to be part of it. Yeah, thank you. So I don't know where I'm at with this conference here, but my question to Karen and to the others was, please, or Mayor, could I please have the refund for the mausoleum plot that I put the 5,000 into? I'm on a limited income. I'm on Canada Pension Plan Disability. And, you know, the 1,500 that they want to take away from me is a lot for me. Please and thank you. I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you.
Any clarification from administration on what the refund policy is? What's the total refundable?
Kathy, do you have the background? Through your worship, the total refund would be $4,335.
Would be $665 that we wouldn't be able to refund back due to the act and city bylaw or city policy.
That's correct.
Okay. Councilor Billingsley.
Thank you. Can we get a little bit of background of exactly what all of this is pertaining to?
Lorianne, do you want to give the background, or do you want me to just catch council up on this? You purchased the mausoleum. You're now looking to sell it back to the city. You want a refund on that, and our city bylaw, our city bylaw, our city policy, and through the Cemeteries Act is you can sell a plot back at 85% of the purchase price.
Okay, so I wasn't aware of that. They told me I could get all of it back. That's why I felt comfortable in buying it at the beginning, because I felt, you know, like our family like has been here for, like my mom is 92 and she taught music in Wetaskiwin as a teenager. And the Nelsons had their, you know, corner gas there. That's what it's all based on, is our family. Like that's why I trusted Wetaskiwin. I just felt comfortable I could buy it. And when she said it's no problem getting all my money back, I guess I was misinformed. And that's why I'm just astounded that this is even going on. Like as with it, because I worked for the government all my life, and it's, as far as I know, like even with coupons, like it's a law within Alberta within 30 days. This is beyond 30 days, mind you, but it's just the principle of it, the law of love, that, you know, the tickets you buy, you get your money back and things like that. I'm astounded that this is even an issue, to be quite honest with you, because we're talking about something like in the future. I don't plan on dying anytime soon, but I wanted to be with my family in Wetaskiwin. And because I was talking to my father, Kissel, with St. Barbara's Russian Orthodox Church, it's better to be buried with where I was baptized, you know? And it's going to be free for me there. It's going to be free for me to be buried at St. Barbara's Russian Orthodox Church in Nisku. So I hope that gives you a little bit of background. I mean, I love Wetaskiwin. We, like all my relatives were from there, and my grandfather homesteaded in Gwyn. So anyways.
Thank you. Sue, when somebody purchases a plot, would they sign an agreement that would have that policy in there on selling it back with at 85% of the purchase price?
Through the chair to council, I believe there was, but I'm not sure how long ago this was or what our practice was back then. But now it's really clearly outlined with the bylaw attached and what's allowed and not allowed.
Lorianne, when did you purchase the plot?
Within the last year here.
Kathy, do we have a copy of the documents?
Lorianne, when you purchased the plot, who were you speaking to? And do you have an email thread saying that you would be refunded at 100%?
I would have to look that up. See here, if I can find it. No, I don't have the thread. No, sorry.
Okay. I'm just having my administration look at the purchase agreement.
Your worship, all I have is the invoice for cemetery fees that Ms. Johnson paid on April the 8th of 2021. Through the chair to all of council, could I suggest that administration look for the actual application and then we could bring that back to the next meeting?
So Lorianne, our administration is going to look into the agreement that we had signed or that you had signed for the purchase of the mausoleum, and it'll be brought back to our next council meeting.
Actually, I found something here in my emails. It's with Cindy Brown. I think it was Cindy Brown. If that helps.
It does. If it
But
says
you know
that
what,
you've
when
been
it comes
full
right
refund.
down to it, I mean, I love you guys so much. I mean, if you all want to be paid the $600 and take it away from somebody who's on disability, that's fine. I'll be good with that because I love all humanity. I'm not out here to cause a problem. And you know what, if something can be decided sooner than later, I don't need this to keep on going on and on and on. I'm not that type of person. I don't try to make, I believe in there's the law and then there's the spirit of the law. And I'm the type of person that if I was the judge, I'd say, hey, like I'm just saying I believe in unconditional love with no judgment. That's how I know God is going to judge us when we go to heaven. So if you are okay with, you do either way, whatever way you want to, then I'm okay.
Yeah, no, there's no judgment here, Lorianne. We just want to make sure that we're following our own policy. That's all. So we'll have administration look into this, and they have your contact information, and they'll get back to you once they get the agreement and once they get the signed agreement, or if there was a signed agreement, back to you so that we can have that information then. So yeah, there's no judgment here whatsoever. It's just council following city policy.
Okay.
Okay, thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you very much. God bless. So anything else we need to talk about, or should I just leave?
Oh, that's okay. You can stay for the meeting if you'd like.
Okay, sure. Thanks. I used to work for judges. For 7 years, I worked for judges.
You definitely don't have to stay for the meeting. I was just teasing.
Oh, well, I worked for 311 City Hall, front counter. Hey, if you need me, I can give you my little 2 bits.
Thanks very much, Lorianne. Our administration will be back in contact with you.
Okay, well, have a great day.
You as well.
I just hope that, I hope you all say a little prayer for humanity. The Great White Brotherhood is here. That's my really seriously, we need a better world. And I hope we all contribute towards that, okay?
Go ahead, Councilor Nielsen.
Thank
Okay,
you.
God bless. Yeah, bye-bye.
So I'm assuming here there's been a request for a refund. And the request would be, at this point, 85%.
15%. Refund, yes, through the
85%
city policy,
refund,
she would get 85%.
15%. Is there any reason why we can't proceed with that portion of it to ensure that that sum is made available to her because she's eligible for that?
Yep.
And then if there is anything else coming out of the research, then she could get an additional amount or not, depending on the decision. I just think it's important given the circumstances presented to us, that perhaps we get the money into her hands that she's deserving of
Entitled to. Yep.
receiving.
Okay. Yeah, we'll leave that with administration, and I'm getting nods, so that'll work. And then they'll be in contact with her again as per the policy, and then if at all, it can come back to council then. Yep. Anything else? All right, looking for an adoption of the agenda. I know we've got a couple of items that we're looking to be added. Go ahead, Sue.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Could we get an in-camera for a land matter under section 17 and an elections update?
Elections update is regular council.
Yes.
New and unofficial-
Yes, it is.
new and unfinished business. That will be 5C. Councilor Nielsen. Councilor Bronco.
Thank you, Tyler. Just wondering if we could have, before we start, if we maybe can have a minute of silence for the loss of our 3 great kids that we had in our community. I believe there's 3. There's 3, yeah. So if we
Yeah,
can just,
once we get through this, absolutely.
thank you.
Looking for a motion to approve the agenda as amended. Councilor Billingsley. So moved. For the question, those in favor? Carried. And we'll recognize a moment of silence. Thank you. Item 4A, approval of the minutes, committee of the whole minutes.
I move that city council approve the committee of the whole minutes of September 27th, 2021.
Moved by Councilor Lonsdale. Any errors or omissions? Ready for the question? Those in favor? Carried.
I move that city council approves the regular council meeting minutes, September 27th, 2021.
Moved by Councilor Lonsdale. Any errors or omissions? Ready for the question? Those in favor? Carried.
I move that city council approves the minutes of the special council meeting, October 1st, 2021.
Moved by Councilor Lonsdale. Any errors or omissions? Ready for the question? Those in favor? Carried. Item 5A, utility franchise fees analysis. Make sure you got a mic there, please, Alan.
That's better. My apologies. Through the mayor to council and the public through Zoom. Before you is a report on franchise fees. Currently, the electrical franchise fee with Fortis is 13.8% and 33% for gas with ATCO. In 2021, there was $2.5 million budgeted. And it's anticipated for 2022 that the amount would be 2.8 million, comprising 1.3 million for electrical and 1.5 million for gas. Should council wish to consider making any changes? Oops. there is 1% will raise $95,940 for electricity, and 1% will raise $45,510 for delivery of natural gas. So if you want to increase or decrease by 1%, those are the numbers.
Councilor Nielsen. Sure. Is your mic on?
No, no, it is not. Through the chair, we have to let these utility companies know by when. When is the final deadline to notify them? Prior to November 1? So making a motion today or at next meeting would have to be required then if we're going to make a change. Thank you.
Would somebody like to make a motion and then some discussion can happen? Councilor Billingsley.
I move that city council directs administration to initiate the process to keep the ATCO utility franchise agreement to, I think it's 13.8% is currently what it's at for 2022. Sorry, the council directs administration to initiate the process to keep the ATCO utility franchise agreement at 13.8% for 2022.
I think the ATCO one is the.
Or is that the 33?
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Yes, it is.
there-
It's
it just
33.
Switched, yeah.
Yeah, sorry.
So the ATCO one would be the 33. That's what it is currently. Yeah. That's good for your motion?
Yes, it
Okay,
is.
moved by Councilor Billingsley. Any discussion? Councilor Billingsley.
I just think that because of there will be a new council coming in that to make a change and have them going into the budget process going forward, that it's important that they at least have the ability to make decisions based on what they know. And I don't think it's fair to either handcuff them with dollars going forward. So I would ideally, I'd like to be able to have this kind of built into our budget process, but that's unfortunately not possible.
And this one can, it's just got a
Yeah,
delay.
yeah.
Yep. I think you can take out to initiate the process, and it's just to keep the franchise fee agreement at 33%.
Yeah, I'm good with that.
Yeah. Anything else? Councilor Hillgartner.
So Dean, you're just doing the one utilities, not both of them?
These just two separate motions.
Two separate? Okay.
Ready for the question? Those in favor? Opposed? Carried.
I move the council directs administration to we have to keep the Fortis utility franchise agreement rate to 13.8 for 2022.
Moved by Councilor Billingsley. Any discussion?
It's going to be basically the
Same
same
thing as
as
the Aqua one?
the other one.
Just switch to Fortis and then 13. Can't expect them to. Any comments, questions? I'd like to see us continue to lower these as we've been working on over the last couple of years, but I see where you're coming from in terms of setting next council up to be able to make those decisions as well.
Right. Okay.
Ready for the question? Those in favor? Opposed? Carried. Item 5B, Finance Department update.
Through the mayor to council and the public in the Zoom world. Before you is a report on the financial department up to date, following the TSI report and also the information brought to council at the last council meeting. I'm going to try to make it as brief as possible. So if council can flip to the attachment 1 that you have. And what attachment 1 does is it identifies where we're at in relationship to the items that were brought up in the TSI report. I just have to blow up my screen just a little, make it easier to read. So in regards to the annual audit, so currently Grant Thornton is in doing the annual audit. They were here last week. They started one day the previous week. And we're getting close to being able to present a draft audit to the new council when they after they're elected. It's been a challenge in regards to looking at or getting the numbers correct for 2020. There was a lot of information relating to 2019 and even 2018 that came to light during 2020, and we've been working trying to determine the best way of moving forward and having discussions with the auditor on that. Finance department staffing. Currently we are working on trying to bring documentation up to date so that as staff comes in, they are able to do their job and also provide appropriate customer service. So there is no official documentation currently. Employees previous experience and anticipation of being second in charge is inaccurate in regards to previous staffing comment by TSI. Employee needs a significant level of leadership to be successful in a more complex finance position. So we're working on that leadership. The manager of finance is working with the staff and providing that leadership. In regards to positions have been filled with full-time and permanent employees. And this should provide residents with consistency above our customer service. And in regards to property tax has been assisted by an external contractor as well as managed by the supervisor of financial reporting and manager of finance. By not having a dedicated person in position is causing previous significant errors as well as inconsistent levels of customer service. So the rationale basically when it comes to the staffing perspective is once the finance department has been fully staffed, all processes will be fully documented, as well with the implementation of priority-based budgeting in 2023. A comprehensive training manual will be created for all users. Also, with the separation of accounts payable and accounts receivable will allow for the account payable clerk to focus solely on providing highest level of customer service, as well as look after efficiencies within the role. And finally, from the staffing, having a permanent employee in this role for property taxes will provide the expertise required and will provide the appropriate level of customer service for all residents. The general ledger finance is working on GL account adjustment once the year end is complete. So we've been solely focusing on trying to get the 2020 year end done. And as indicated, it has been a little bit of a challenge, but we are getting awfully close. In regards to financial reporting, the comment trusted operation and capital finance reporting and reconciliations. We must make financial reporting a priority. This has become evident in relationships with the new FCSS relationship and with the library, noting that finance dropped the ball. We truly did. I'm working right now with the FCSS director, general manager or manager, and on the 2020 year-end report, and we are finding information where there's adjustments needed, where there are carry forwards from 2019. It could be argued two different numbers. So we're trying to straighten that out to get it correct for 2020, moving forward into 2021. There's one big adjustment that's required in the range of $170,000 range to 200, more around the 170 of deferred FCSS grant funding to be set up in 2020, which then impacts 2021 and will impact 2022. Also, finance has had little success in improving most financial reporting due to lack of resourcing. And I've seen that in regards to trying to prepare reports and so forth. Just right now working on the budget and trying to get information in relationship to priority-based budgeting. There are some unique things in the systems that have been set up, and we're trying to work our way through. But with the current staff that we have, and if I'm the one doing that work, I'm not able to provide the support to the city manager or to the other general managers in forward thinking. And that's why the requirement in regards to the financial analysts that we're asking for. In regards to, I kind of touched the budget process. They all kind of link in there. Accounting software, we've been, GP's been upgraded to the latest, Great Plains, which is the main accounting software, has been updated to the most recent version. Also, Questica, which is our main budgeting software, has been updated to 2020 from 2016. And we're trying to rectify some little kinks within that program. And they've actually come out with a even newer one, 2021, which solves a lot of problems. So that's something that we're looking at. Generally, it's just a simple rollover and we're good to go. But I've got to double check on that. That basically speaks to, there's other things in there. The last item on there is 2021 audit. I make this commitment right now. The 2021 audit will be done before the audit deadline. But if there isn't any staff to support, there are things going to fall behind, and customer service to the public and to internal departments will suffer. Now there was, and my apologies, there was an attachment, or attachment 2 was emailed today, and somehow when I was using iCompass, I messed up and it didn't get added on. So my apologies. What this does, it speaks to the rationale behind each of the positions. Now, you'll note that it adds up to 220 versus 225, which was the request from finance for the staffing members. And thank you. So we look at the accounts receivable function. We show what the current customer service is and what the staff member would do. And we're talking a quarter of a staff member. It's going to produce, bi-weekly and daily reviews, increased oversight on revenues, and reduced collection agency costs. Property taxes, again, customer service right now, it's managed off the side of a desk with the manager of finance and the super financial reporting, and provides only very basic direction to residents. So the idea behind the person is the dedicated professional managed by a property tax administrator, consistent customer service based on administration. Now, we also are looking at a service to do the tax collection, tax sales, and so forth. And that service will go a long way in regards to helping this position. In regards to it, what it does is it takes that, what I would call nightmare for residents, off our table. And it allows a professional to focus on it, and for staff to then focus on giving service to customers who are not in arrears but are current, or sorry, not in delinquent but maybe just in arrears and current. Reporting and financial analysis. This is where accrual management and reconciliations. This is where the 1 full-time and 1 2-year temporary FTE. And the rationale behind that is just seeing in regards to, again, dealing with FCSS and also dealing with the library, is that we need that support. Our current staffing level doesn't allow for that. Our accounting or financial analysis is basically working on grants and working on capital items, and isn't able to get into detailed support for, be it FCSS or the library. Then we talk about, on accrual basis and year-end reconciliations. And again, our new manager of finance has instituted some stuff in there, but the idea of the temporary person is to get us all caught up such that it creates success for the permanent position. So before you is the 3 recommendations from administration, and I'm open to any questions.
I'm going to make a motion. I move the city council approve the hiring of a term financial analyst up to the amount of $75,000 to be funded through the contingency reserve.
How long is the term position?
1 year, sorry. I'll speak to that if.
I'll just try and get caught up and then absolutely.
Good term? Up to the amount. Yes, thank you. The financial department is the backbone of this organization. We finally have what appears to be a plan to fix some of the issues that we've had over the last, well, 4 years since I've been here and probably years prior to that. It's next to impossible to make solid financial decisions without good data or good information. And to say the least, we haven't had any, or shouldn't say had any, but not great information. And we make a whole lot of decisions based upon the information that we're given. The reason why I went with not doing it a permanent position is I don't know if this is going to fix the problem. I'm hopeful. But I want to see some proof that things are actually improving, because what's happened over the last 4 years has been terrible and not acceptable. And it's great to see we finally are getting a plan of how do we fix the problems that we were having. So I like it, but I'm still a little gun shy. I want it fixed. That's where I stand.
Councilor Bronco.
Thank you, Tyler. This analyst we're wanting to hire, is it a certified accountant or just an analyst?
Through the mayor to council. The intent is to get a CPA kind of a deal. The challenge, and be quite honest, we'll take any help that we can get. There's no question about it. The challenge is offering a term position. You may not get, you reduce your pool. So, but that's something we can work with. We may have to, if we can't find a person, we may have to contract it out, and again, contract it out to somebody who has a CPA designation or has the experience where we can help out. So that's always the challenge with a full-time term position, or sorry, a temporary term position. But like I said, we'll take any help we can get.
Okay, so my other question would be, I know it'd probably be more money, but at least we would have, how hard is it to get a quote from a chartered accountant company to do the work? Then we know it's going to be done. There's no mistakes, and mistakes made. They're accountable for their mistakes. And my other question, you were asking for 3 helps. If we only get 1, how is this affecting the other sector of our financial situation? If we only get 1, you're saying we need 3. If we get 1, I still see we're going to have a problem. So it's a balance we're playing here. We get 1, we're still not going to get 100% what we want to achieve. We only get 50%. So if we're only going to get 1 instead of 2, are we winning, or are we just keeping our heads above water?
Through the mayor to council, in regards to hiring a CPA firm, I would recommend against it. And I'll leave it at that. I don't want to go into details. If you want to discuss it in a closed session, I'm more than willing to do that. I'm a CPA, and and I worked in CPA firm for 15 years as an auditor. So I believe there's better dollars a value for your dollar than paying the fees of CPA firms. And there are contract people out there that can help out. Having said that, you know, it's just a matter of what can I get with the best bang for the dollar. In regards to, yeah, if it's only one position, yeah, we're gonna still struggle, but we're gonna make every effort to do the best we can with what we have. And there will sometimes things will fall off the plate. That would mean that the GMs and the CAO maybe have to fend for themselves. But I don't think that will happen with the CAO. But you know, in all seriousness, there is, you know, one will help, but it won't solve the problem.
So to my colleague, if we wanted to get higher quality, one person, would we increase the wage? 75,000, say we would go to 100, were we gonna get a better person or not? You pay for what you get, I'm a believer.
Through the mayor to council. Yeah, at the $75,000, again, you'd get a fresh, probably student out of the CPA who just graduated. So that experience is there. What I've done in the past, to be quite honest, and Grant Thornton knows this all too well, is I like to raid articling students from CPA firms or CA firms. That is my preference. Always has been, always will be, only because of that audit mentality. It's not a slight against anyone else. It's just the different life you learn, different pressures that you're put under. So when you come into a situation like this, I believe the potential is to perform better. And when I was at a former municipality a little bit north of here, about 36 minutes north, I did raid one of their best staff members.
Thank you.
Councillor Nielsen.
Thank you. I totally understand where Councillor Billingsley's coming from, in the sense that we're making some motions here to add staff to solve a multitude of problems. And until we've accomplished the end goal of getting all of that remedied, I'm not sure that the solution is necessarily three people, but the need to get caught up. The issue, in addition to that, though, is that because this has been an ongoing problem that I think we all agree needs to be remedied, I don't like the approach that we'll take all the help, we'll take any of the help we can get. I'd like to think we can do better than we'll take whatever we can get. And that speaks to term appointments. My question, I guess, through the chair to Sue, is if we are to accept Councillor Billingsley's motion, is there a potential in the advertisement that it could actually read with potential for continuing employment? My concern, Sue, is that looking for good people but only guaranteeing them a year of work, I think limits the talent pool. And I'd like it to be a term position like the motion says, but I'd also like some enticement attached to it. So I don't know if that's an amendment to a motion or a friend. It would be a friendly amendment. It changes the intent of the motion. So can that be put in, is it reasonable to put that kind of a thing into a posting, a job posting?
Through the chair to Councillor Nielsen, I don't think so, because we would be potentially promising someone a permanent position that hasn't been approved. And you're right, not having a permanent position around it. No one's leaving a permanent job to come to a temporary one. So Alan and I had a chat about this, and we have managed the previous 6 months to hire contractors into these positions. We could do that. But in a perfect world, 2 positions in 1 term would get us where we need to be. If we were to get 3 terms, we could still end up where we need to be, and then report back to council within the year on where we're at with catching up. And then I think it would be appropriate to come back and say, either approve the permanent ones now or approve them later, but we can't promise something that hasn't been approved through council.
Councilor Billingsley.
To see through the chair, when I set up to $75,000, what is the pay, or sorry, not the pay, but the benefit difference between a term position versus a permanent position? Like, obviously there's benefits involved and things like that. What sort of dollars difference are we talking?
Alan, did you include the benefits in the number?
Through the mayor to council, yeah, that includes benefits. That was the intent. Yes.
Councilor Nielsen.
Through the chair, Sue. So what is the employment standard with regard to probationary period?
Through the chair to Councillor Nielsen, that's set by each organization. There's notices that are legislated in law, and up to certain points, one party or the other has to give notice or pay in lieu of notice. We negotiate, so our standard is either 3 or 6 months. But for certain positions, we negotiate. And I mean, in a term position, there really would be no probation period. We can terminate at any time.
Can I continue? Through the chair then to Alan. So we're looking at the first position here. Dean's put it into a term position. From your perspective, how long would it take you as a supervisor to determine, given the tasks you're going to assign this person, that they're a keeper or not a keeper?
Through the mayor to council. That's a really interesting question. Generally speaking, having been as long as I can tell within 3 months whether they're a keeper. I probably can tell the next day they're in, but my biggest, and this is one of my bigger faults, is I believe in my staff and I try to work with them, and so that's the intent, because everyone has different ways of doing things. And I don't force the way I do things down someone. I've got a unique background through the CPA firms that I've worked with and so forth. And in local government, that I have certain ways I do things that a lot of people don't. But we're both with the manager in finance and myself. The goal is to make them as efficient as possible and work with them. And that's the number. But generally speaking, I would know within 3 months whether they're a keeper or not. But again, it's done by two people, myself and Mr. Reynolds, who's the manager of finance, and we go from there, but I would say 3 months.
And then through the chair to Alan again, please. Through a lot of the conversations we've had about this particular issue, we've identified a backlog of problems or a backlog of work that's accumulated because we haven't had A, sufficient staff, and B, in some cases, appropriate processes. So we're looking at, through these different motions, 3 continuing full-time positions. If part of the problem is backlog, at some point we will have caught up with backlog. Will we be then overstaffed?
Through the mayor to council, I hate correcting councilors, but there's 2 full-time and 1 term. So the intent is that term would be able to drop off because the idea is to get caught up. So definitely in regards to it's whether we require 2 full-time term moving forward. And that is, depending on where we go with different aspects of the organization, that may only be 1 position. But that discussion is in camera. I'd rather have that one in camera to hold it because it would impact potentially employment.
Fair enough. Thank you.
Councillor Lonsdale.
Oh, thank you, sir. Actually, my question was just answered. It was about eventual overstaffing, so.
Councillor Glatz.
So what we're looking at here is that it would be 2 financial analysts that would be hired, 1 potentially for a 2-year term and 1 for a 1-year term is what it's sounding like through Councillor Billingsley's motion so far. That both would end up being term positions instead of 1 permanent. And
There's
1.
just 1 motion on the floor. Right
Yeah, I know. I'm just trying to wrap my head around the first one because that would mean that, like, let's say that we wanted to get a second one. I'm trying to figure out how to word this. So the first position, I just want to kind of see the rationale for why it would be a term position for the first one for 1 year.
Because I want to make sure that this plan.
Can you speak in your mic, please?
Sorry, more so because I'm gun shy of what's happened at the finance department over the last 4 years. If it means going with a permanent position, I'd be okay with that change. Just because of the talent pool that's out there, that I know that they're tough to fill. So if someone wants to make it friendly on that, I certainly could support that, but I still like the idea of a term position.
Thank you. And through the chair to Alan, if we had a 1-year term position for financial analyst, would that be helpful or would it leave your department swimming in the event that they just end at 1 year and they aren't finished the work that they need to get done?
I would, through the mayor to council, I would say the latter.
Thank you.
Any further? I will not support this motion based on the fact that we have been struggling in finance for as long as I've been on council. We've got a report back. We've got clear direction from our administration, and to be able to get our finance team back on track and get the city back on track, I support all 3 of administration's recommendations for the analyst, the 2-year term, and then a full-time property tax accountant as well, so that we are operating at full capacity. Like I said, I've struggled with finance in the 8 years that I've been on council, and I'm happy to see a plan to move forward and to make sure that we're going to start operating as we should and not drowning along the way. Councilor Billingsley.
So you said that you will not support?
I will
that?
not support your motion. of a
And that-
term position.
On term, like I said, I'd be more than happy to, if someone wants to make a friendly on that. I
It
would
wouldn't be a friendly, it'd be an amendment to the motion. Because you're changing it from a term to a permanent position, so we'd have to make an amendment to that
Okay,
and then vote on it. Counselor Blatz,
I'll make the amendment.
so you're changing it from a term position to a permanent.
Yes.
Okay. And then the funding coming from contingency, we wouldn't have a staff member funded out of contingency. It would have to come from the budget. We just have to wait. It'll have to be an amendment as well. Counselor Billingsley.
to Sue or Alan, through the chair, is there any other places that we can pull dollars from other than from surplus? I hate using this surplus as a piggy bank. It's not financially prudent way of conducting business. It just means that we're overtaxing our residents and just pulling that money out whenever we see fit. And I am not thrilled about that. Is there any other places that we possibly could find funding for this?
Sue?
Through the chair to Councillor Billingsley, by putting it through the budget surplus for this year, it will become part of our base budget moving forward. So it will reduce the surplus, you're right.
Yeah.
But it is the best way for us to get it into the base budget moving forward. Right now, we did not budget for it. So
Yes.
to say that it's coming from our budget surplus is appropriate for this year. And then it will be worked into, when we bring budget back in the spring of 2022, it would be worked into our base budget moving forward.
Okay, thank you.
Councilor Bronco.
Thank you, Tyler. When you say permanent financial analyst, for how many years? 1, 2?
Permanent. To the amendment. Anything further? Councilor Nielsen.
Just be clear then, the idea being that this would be coming out of surplus for October, November, December. And that would become part of budget discussions. And so you're looking at the worst case scenario, 1/4 of that amount coming out of surplus. Thank you, Andre.
To the amendment, ready for the question? Those in favor? Carried. Back to the motion on the floor. Any further discussion? Ready for the question? Those in favor? Councilor Nielsen.
I just want to avoid I want clarity that we're not dealing with surplus coming back. I mean, we're dealing with surplus with
Currently, and then it becomes part of the budget. So you wouldn't be able to bank on a position being covered by surplus for 2022
long term.
because you have no idea whether there's a surplus or not. So
All
then
I'm
it then
wondering-
becomes a part of the budget.
Right. So all I'm wondering about the motion that's on the floor. We're saying that this is how it is, but this is how it's being drafted into the budget. It's going to be paid out of budget surplus.
For this year, like to hire immediately, but we can't fund things through a surplus that don't exist. So even if you made a motion saying in perpetuity, this position would be paid for by the budget surplus, we can't do that. So we're bound by the MGA on how that position is funded. And right now it's being funded through the surplus for the remainder of 2021. And then ongoing, it would be part of our budget. It would be in the budget.
Okay, thank you.
Councilor Bronco.
Thank you, Tyler. Is it right to put up to the amount of 75,000? What if we have an exceptional person willing to come for 80,000? We can't hire him because we left 75,000. Is there a maximum that we can go to? Because 75,000 for a permanent, I feel for financial is pretty low. I don't know. In our financial system, I'm not an accountant, but he's gonna come and go through our headaches. It's $75,000. A good catch, good bait. Because if we want to get this straight, guys, is if we're gonna put a low amount in it and it's not coming right, it's costing us more money.
So I don't know if you're asking Dean the question on.
Oh, I'm
75
asking
or
is
whether-
it
or
70?
whether you're asking Alan whether 75
Well,
is.
I'm not an expert accountant. Is $75,000 good enough to get, because we're hiring a permanent job. Is it good enough to fix our problems?
I'll defer to Alan or Sue.
Through the chair to Councillor Bronco. Alan's team has looked at what it would take to get these positions in. Once they're in, they will become a part of our annual, or sorry, our every 3-year cycle of review. So once in 2022, we have a business case coming in to do the salary surveys. And we will compare them to other communities. And if it comes back that that they're out of line, then we would adjust at that point based on the report coming back from the consultant and presented to council as part of our 2023 budget.
Councilor Nielsen.
So I understand the process, but I'm through the chair to Alan. You indicated that you liked recruiting from a particular sector. And if you're recruiting from a particular sector, we've got to be in the pay range of that sector to attract that kind of clientele. I understand once we get here, they go on the grid and all the rest of it. But is this dollar value that's put in here sufficient dollars to recruit from the sector you're looking at?
To the mayor, to council. The salary that was used was $35 plus benefits. So in regards to on the grid, the potential is that that can grow up to $45, $44 based on today's grid. So it all depends on the aspirations of the person trying to come in the position that they start at. And so, though I would say that if I was working with $100,000, I have a better chance at getting somebody than at 75. But I believe that, again, my preference is out of a CPA firm, but there are a lot of, they may be looking for government jobs or non-government jobs. It's hard to say. It's right now in regards to finding any good quality accountant, be it a CPA, they are hard to come by. So yes, the higher the dollar value, the more likelihood that we can find a candidate. What that magic dollar value is a huge question. Right now, it's in line with our salary grid. But I believe in discussions with Mr. Reynolds in that we are comfortable with the value right now, that dollar value right now.
Through the chair, then, Alan, through the chair to Sue, I guess. So to follow up with Joe's question about if you got a superstar walking through the door and they wanted to negotiate a salary that is outside the range of this, would you just exclude them, or would you potentially enter into another conversation with council?
Through the chair to Councillor Nielsen, through the CAO's budget, we have authority to move any money within the budget, specifically the staffing module. If there are surpluses due to attrition or other vacancies, we could use that money to offset the cost of hiring a superstar at more money than this. Obviously within reason of the department justification. And then we would include that in the next budget moving forward.
Thank you.
Councillor Billingsley.
Alan, I guess my question is to Alan. So my understanding is that you had thought that you'd pluck somebody out of audit at one of the bigger firms, or that's going to be your target of people you're going to try to attract. Is that?
Through the mayor to council. Yeah, generally speaking is that is who I'm not saying that they're all perfect, but based on the experience that they've had and the fact that they're doing audit work and they can do that analysis kind of deal, because that's what the world they're brought up in. That is the candidate that I'm looking for. Having said that, there could be a good candidate that doesn't have that designation. And I'll just take one step back and just say, before there was CPAs, there was CAs, CGAs, and CMAs. And I will tell you right to this day, without mentioning his name, the best accountant that I've ever known is a CMA, and he couldn't pass a UFI if he tried, because he just couldn't write an exam. But I would put him up against any CPA or CA who got a medal, because it's just there, that knack. So you know what you're getting. So yes, that's where I would start looking. That would be my preference. That doesn't mean that will be my final decision, again, because it's both Mr. Reynolds and myself.
Then the $75,000, from what I know in that field, would be enough. If you were tackling or looking at going after a recent graduate through being a CPA, and they'd have a little bit of audit experience and probably want to get out, and $75,000 would be enough.
I'm just going to bring us back on track here. Council doesn't direct or dictate how the hiring process is done. If you would like to increase the level of pay for a position, by all means, but
the question was from Councilor Branco was, is $75,000 enough?
yeah, and
Yep.
they said it was. So if
Yep.
if council is not comfortable with that, then increase that number. Anything further? Ready for the question? Those in favor? Carried unanimously.
I move the city council approves the hiring of a financial analyst for a 2-year term in the amount of $75,000 to be funded through budget surplus for the 21-22, with 2023 being requested through the 2023 budget process.
Moved by Councillor Nielsen. Any discussion? Can you help me understand why the change between contingency to the budget surplus?
No. I can't. I guess if I was to respond to that, I would say I think we've got I think we got some reconciling to do with this whole issue of budget surplus, and I think Councillor Billingsley referred to that in his first motion, but it seems to be where we always go to dip our toes, and it tends to be more of a slush account than
Or what is more of a slush account, the contingency or the surplus?
surplus.
But that's where you're asking for the money
Yeah,
to come from?
yep, that's right. So I would change that to contingency reserve.
Moved by Councillor Nielsen. Any
Um,
discussion? Go ahead.
I'd like to change that motion.
Okay.
From the contingency reserve for 2021 and 2022 and 2023 being requested through the budget process.
That's what your motion. That's what the motion was, wasn't it?
No. It's just doing the same thing, your worship, as we did with the first one. That we're not funding it for a 2-year period out of surplus.
Out of contingency. I got you.
Yes,
So just for the remainder of this year contingency, and then for 2022
out of the budget.
out of the budget.
Yeah.
Okay. Sue?
Through the chair to Councillor Nielsen, I think it would need to read then, like, put a period at the end of 2021 and then say 2022 and 2023 will be requested through each year's budget process, or add in 2022 to the last part, requested through the 2022 and 2023 budget processes.
Sure, I'm okay with that.
How do we hire a term position that isn't guaranteed funding?
I would suggest that this motion implies that it's guaranteed funding out of budget.
But you haven't, there's not a, so you're requesting funding through 2022 and 2023 budget processes. You, that's not an implication, it's still a term position, so you haven't guaranteed the funding.
I would defer to Sue for some. thoughts.
Through the chair to Councillor Nielsen, I agree. If Alan is going to be successful in retaining someone, the original motion with the 2021, 2022 gives us the ability to post for a year. And then we would do the rest if the next year was warranted after a report from administration. 2023 could be through that budget process. Because the way that it's worded, we have just a few months and then the person would not be approved. If we do not approve it, if council does not approve this now, and and commit the funds for the next year, a new council coming in could not approve it in 2022, and then we would have to terminate in just a few months.
I'll withdraw the amendment.
Any more discussion on that? Ready for the question? Those in favor? Carried unanimously. Councilor Billingsley.
I move that city council approve the hiring of a full-time property tax accounts receivable finance clerk in the amount up to $75,000 to be funded through the existing budget.
Moved by Councilor Billingsley. Any discussion? We're ready for the question. Those in favor? Carried unanimously. Added agenda item 5C, election update.
Good evening, council. I just wanted to send out one last reminder to everyone that's listening online and potentially anyone that's going to be watching the video after the council meeting tonight. On our website, if you are looking for this information, you will be able to find it. So just to confirm, you will be able to go and vote starting tomorrow at the advance polls. So tomorrow is October 13th. At the Memorial Arts Center, and you will be able to vote between 10 a.m. and 8 p.m. And then on October 16th at the East Fire Halls, that's Station 2. It's a drive-through voting is what we're offering this year, so people can vote from the comfort of their own vehicle, and that will be from 12 o'clock to 5 o'clock. This is our municipality's first time doing that, so our election workers are pretty excited to take that for a spin. Just to see how that goes. So hopefully it's not too windy, or I'm gonna have to find a lot of rocks around the station to keep those papers down. So, and then I also want to point out that on October 18th, we do have 2 polling locations, and where you vote will depend on where you live in the city of Wetaskiwin. So the Memorial Arts Center, that will be for everyone who is on the west side of the city. So that is in blue. And then the drill hall will be for anyone on the east side of the city. And we will have maps and election workers at the door, just double checking so that people aren't waiting in line for too long, just to make sure they're at the right polling station. So for the advance votes, it doesn't matter where you live, you can vote at either Memorial Arts or the Fire Hall, but it's just on the day of October 18th is when it will matter. So we'll also have election workers at the door just to remind people to have their ID with them. And that's all that I would like to say. Any questions?
A motion to accept this information, and then Councilor Hillgartner, moved by Councilor Hillgartner. Any discussion? Ready for the question? Those in favor? Very unanimously. I will entertain a motion to go in camera
So
Moved by
moved.
Counselor Blatz. Those in favor? Carried. We are in camera and we will take a 10-minute break. Please and thank you. Need a motion to come out of camera. Moved by Counselor Blatz. Those in favor? Carried. I know this is hard being our last meeting, but we still have to adjourn it.
We motion.
Oh, right, sorry.
And I can make the last motion.
Of my term.
All right. I move that the city council directs administration to counter with the extension of conditions to December the 1st, 2021.
Moved by Counselor Hillgartner. Any discussion? Ready for the question? Those in favor? Carried unanimously.
Yay.
Counselor Blatz.
I move to officially adjourn for a final meeting of this entire term.
You're only a half timer. You've been only.
Yeah.
Ready for the question? Those in favor? Carried. Thank you very much.
Thank you.